We all grew up having some form of punishments as kids for something that we did that was bad, or if we didn't do anything bad and you just had an alcoholic mother or father. Whether it would be ass beatings, humiliation rituals, confiscation, detention, meaning timeouts or grounding, all sorts of punishments with some weird or inhumane, or just straight up socking the fuck out of your kid for bringing home a family drawing that they made instead of grabbing an ice cold beer. Well, today I'm going to rank these childhood punishments, as there was some that I did experience and also some that I'm glad I never got to experience but heard others go through, and I'm going to use another tier list today to rank them. I did a poll on my channel a week before making this video asking what I should rank these punishments by, giving the criteria choices being effectiveness, meaning how well they worked in disciplining a kid to act right, or cruelty, meaning how cruel and abusive these punishments are to a child, doing more harm than good. And at the time of this video, most of you voted for me to rank these punishments based on how effective they are in disciplining a child. So that's what we're going to do today. We got our tiers listed here, starting off with that'll teach them, meaning 90% of the time that punishment or punishments will have a child never do whatever the fuck they did again, teaching them better. Then we got works in many cases, meaning most of the time it works, but there are some instances where the kid will probably misbehave again, but not too often. Then we got depends, which is 50-50, meaning for some children it either effectively taught them to not do bad shit again and grew up well behaved, or it either did more harm than good. It just depends on the circumstances, really. Then we have not really effective, as in the punishments listed either encouraged a kid to do more bad shit or traumatize them, making them hate the parent long term. And lastly, we have some punishments that are just straight up child abuse, and we all know which ones fall under that category, as it only traumatizes a kid instead of disciplines them. Now, starting off with our first one, which is the infamous ass whoopings. Now, I would honestly put this in depends, as some people grew up getting their ass whooped and say it shaped them into becoming a well-behaved kid, as you always had that fear of the pain from getting belt to ass. And sometimes it wasn't even a belt, it could have been a flip-flop or chancla, which is probably the less painful choice besides a hand, a twig from a tree branch, a fly swatter, a fucking charging cable, which at that point is fucking child abuse for some of y'all that know how bad that shit hurts. Welts and everything like it's the plantation days. Wooden paddles if you're still stuck in the fucking 1930s. Anything a parent can find close to them, they whooping your ass with. If you did something bad at home or at school and a teacher called home, so now you're just on the bus waiting for your demise when you get home. That kind of fear is something I will not wish upon anybody else, as it's almost exactly like an actual death sentence, just waiting for your time to come at school or on the bus, knowing your ass is about to get tore up once you step foot through that door. Some say it helped in disciplining them, as it used pain and fear to teach them, and some say it only traumatized them growing up, arguing that it's not effective or a right way to teach a kid to not misbehave. My thoughts on it honestly are, for how some of these kids act out in public nowadays, kicking and screaming because something isn't going their way, or talking back to a parent in a snarky way, it makes me think that it may be necessary, as someone who did get whooped growing up. But to each their own. Some people say it worked for them and some people say it did more harm than good, so I'm gonna put it in depends. Beating your kid with your hands. Yeah, see, now this is just straight up child abuse. Fucking aggravated assault on a minor. I know some people still use shit like belts and whatnot to beat their kids unreasonably, whether it was an alcoholic mom or dad or whatever, but punching and kicking the shit out of your kid, there is no way out of that accusation. That's just child abuse. Timeouts. I'd say this one works in many cases, as for the most part kids will listen and not do whatever the hell they did in my experiences, especially if they like going outside to play and whatever. But of course there are some times where they end up doing it again, and for some kids timeouts aren't enough, but in an average case scenario before COVID times it would. Grounding. This is basically just timeouts but for big kids or teenagers, but surprisingly I'd say this is not really effective, and I'm gonna explain why. Sure, it will make your kid not do bad shit as they're being stripped away from their freedom, but only for the meantime while they are supervised, because since they are being stripped away from that freedom, they'll grow more eager to try and experience bad shit that they've been kept away from, making them a more mischievous child. This encourages sneaking out, or kids being more influenced by their friends when they're out to do drugs or crimes or whatnot. Locking your kid away from shit only makes them more curious when they get older, so I'd say that it's not really effective for a teenager at least, but for a small percentage it can. Soap bars in the mouth. Not gonna lie, I'd hate to say it, and I love y'all with the utmost respect, but this is the oldest, whitest people thing that I have ever seen and heard in my life. Putting a soap bar forcefully in your kid's mouth to clean a quote-unquote dirty mouth because they said bad words. Are we serious? I'd say that's child abuse at that point, because you're putting something hazardous in a kid's mouth that they could easily consume. Maybe that's me being soft, but I'd be damned if I had to put a soap bar in my mouth because I had a dirty mouth and said some bad words and was cursing. Like, just beat my ass at that point. Now on to the confiscation category. Taking away phones. I'd say it depends, because yeah, it can teach a teenager to not do whatever the fuck they did, as phones are basically everything to a kid or teenager or a young adult in this era, and they need to text the hoes or the homies. Or it can, again, like grounding, influence them to defy the rules and either sneak and steal the phone back, text people off an iPad or school Chromebook, or use someone else's phone, which at that point the kid isn't learning anything but to go against the rules and be even more mischievous than before. So I'd put it in depends, as sometimes it can obviously work depending on a kid's like accessibility, and I'm gonna move grounding down to depends as well, as it could also work sometimes, I guess. Taking away video games. Ooh, that'll teach them right there. Any guy that had their game taken away knows that shit was like taking away a will to fucking live. Just like phones to a girl, video games are like a part of a guy, because if that's all you did, you're basically forced to go touch grass now, become spiritual soul and sunbathe, meditating or something, read a book, everything horrible aside from playing video games. And there was no workaround unless you had a friend that had a gaming console. You can't just take that shit back, as you can't hide a big ass console. I'd rather have my phone taken away than have my gaming console taken away. That shit is the worst. So I'd say that teaches them well, as that taught me. Taking away driving privileges. I mean, if you're a homebody, then this wouldn't really affect you anyways. I can only see this working if you're road running 24/7, just in them streets with friends. Then maybe it can work, but it's basically just grounding someone without grounding them. So I'd put it in not really effective, as you still have some sort of freedom just being at home. Taking away eating privileges. So essentially starving your child. This is just inhumane child abuse. Killing your kid by malnourishment because they did something bad. I don't think a kid could be capable of doing anything remotely bad to deserve actual torture. Any parent that has done this or has had the mental incapacity to do that to their kid deserves a first-class VIP spot next to Satan himself in hell. Because what the fuck? It's never that serious. On to the last set of punishments, which are humiliation rituals. Starting off with recording your kid live, either hitting them or saying shit that should be kept within a household or between family members. Remember that one dad that kept hitting his kid on Facebook Live or whatever because his son was trying to act hard, toting guns and shit? Watching that will piss you off, because yeah, the kid shouldn't have been doing that ignorant shit, but you as a dad recording your kid live in front of hundreds to thousands of people, hitting him and embarrassing him, making him look pussy, only makes you look like a clown, as not only is that shit not necessary and should be kept private within a household, your kid will never forget that shit and will look at you differently for the rest of their life, as you're supposed to be the one that protects them and that they look up to, and for you to guide them, not do that corny ass shit. So I'd put this in not really effective, as it's technically not child abuse definitively, close but not quite, but it's not effective, as it'll only traumatize a kid rather than shape them correctly. Giving your kid a bad haircut. See, now this shit is not as harmful as the others, since it's just hair and it can grow back fully in like a month, but boy is this shit also humiliation ritual. Going to school getting fucking flamed for your atrocious ass haircut because you wanted to do something bad, man, I bet your ass never did whatever the fuck you did again. I'd say this works in most cases, as hair is a guy's makeup damn near, and no guy wants to go bald or have a fucked up haircut in general, and it's embarrassing as hell going to school with. But the good part is that it grows back, so I think it's an effective punishment, but it can risk a kid hating the fuck out of you. Now lastly, breaking a kid's gaming console. This is in the same realm as the Facebook Live shit that I talked about a couple minutes ago. Recording yourself breaking your kid's gaming console, which just like explained earlier how much that means to a kid or guy, is a stupid move that makes yourself look like a clown, because I'm pretty sure you're just throwing away $500 worth of your money just to prove a point to your kid and making your kid hate you. So you're not teaching them shit really, but just being an asshole and embarrassing them by posting the video. You could have just, I don't know, took away the console temporarily, but no, you wanted to do that because you have the power to. So congratulations, you threw away $500 from your own wallet to piss off your kid. Fucking amazing. I'd put this in not really effective, because it's not for the most part. It can teach your kid not to do bad shit, sure, but it would do more harm than good. And there we have it. That is my childhood punishments tier list. Let me know what you guys think, if I forgot some punishments or if I need to change stuff around or whatever. Next video I will be going over if school boxing was a sport, so stay tuned. Until then, go touch grass or something, I don't know. I'm in that fat truck, black truck, that shit, she wanna set me up.